Good morning. In this video, I will talk to my daughter. I have a hard time talking to my daughter because I think she's materialistic. Since I don't work and have any money, she doesn't really like me. But I haven't, once I got Baker acted twice this year in 2013, Christmas 2012 and February. When I got out, I became a serious person. I don't talk to the family much. They ask me questions, I answer them, but I don't really approach them. Except for my son. My son and I are in the same tribe. But the women, my mother, the spouse, and the daughter, we have a very difficult relationship. So I'll read to you what I wrote. Hi, daughter. I will help you with homework because you did cut the grass yesterday. But I won't help you with math because it's too high level for me. She cut the grass. She totally shocked me. I was teaching my son how to do that. And my son somehow got away from me. He's a very jumpity, very, what's the word? Happy, energetic young man. And then again, I walk like the turtle. So my son disappeared from me. And for some strange reason, my daughter appeared. I was about to start cutting the grass. The spouse and I had walked hand in hand, and she had been picking up all the garbage that someone had thrown, cups. Last time there was a beer bottle, I saw it. She didn't pick it up, and she cut the grass and she ran over it. But this time we walked around together to see. She even picked up the branches and things. I didn't pick up anything because I have a thing that picks it up. It costs $10. And the wife, she doesn't like it to hang by her doorbell. So she moved it on me. So I told her, well, all right, then you pick up everything. I don't tell her, you pick up everything. I just don't pick up anything as she walks. And she's happy because I'm going to cut her grass. So it was really surprising when my daughter, for the first time, cut the grass. She used to say, when you buy me a tractor that I can sit and ride and drive, that's when I'll cut the grass. And so she's been saying that since about she was probably 8 years old. My daughter is a high maintenance girl, and she's also emotional, and she's also materialistic, which is fine. The mother is the same. All right, daughter. So I will help you with your math. I won't help you with your math. I will only help you with the stuff I like to do, like learning vocabulary and certain history things and some science. You see, people, my daughter, she tries hard for good grades, and I think it's only because she wants my attention. But I don't pay attention to that. I said, all right, so you have straight A's. But did you hear what Booker T. Washington said? He was born a slave, so he lived like 100 years ago. But he said, you don't need to know the name of some mountain in Africa. You need, and he said, skilled hands, skilled hands, skilled hands. Which over here, I write down carpentry, electricity, computer repair, skilled hands, or money skills. All right. So I do love you, daughter. And I even like you. Now, okay, now I even like you now, since you are reading Joel and Victoria Osteen's emails with me, and you're sparring with me at Tai Chi Chuan. She's learning. I would like you more, daughter, if you would be homeschooled, because this way you could learn something useful like computer repair. God would give us the daily bread. By that meaning, God would give us the computer software. We could use grandma's laptop like I'm using right now. Daughter, we really need. I paid for that P memory course. You know, that was $300, dear. And I know it's not user friendly. It's not built for children, and it's not built for people like me. They expect you to complete a lesson in under 2 hours. And I take a month on one lesson, you know? So I've only done 3 lessons in 3 years, because I mean, that's a lot of work. It's worth it, but it's a lot of mental work. You have to picture things in your mind with your eyes open. All right, my mother got good grades in school, probably better than mine. I got B's and A's, but my mother, when she told her father about it, he had the same response I am having. He said, "Oh, you got good grades? Isn't that your job to get good grades?" So she was very unhappy. My mother was very unhappy that her dad just wouldn't express any congratulations, any happiness. But then again, he would see some girl in the newspaper, and he used to say, "Oh, look at this woman. She is in the newspaper, and she's successful, and she became a lawyer." And my mother would say, "She was one of my students, Dad, and she became a lawyer because her dad did pay for her school." And by that, my mother would mean that you didn't want to pay for my school. And I did question Grandpa about it. Somehow I got on that conversation, 50 years later, right? And he said that he didn't want his daughter involved in that world of the court system with murderers and things like that. So he didn't pay for her education. She doesn't look at it that way. She says he was a drunkard that wouldn't pay for my schooling. That's how my mother has a brother that's a doctor, and she was just a school teacher in Honduras. Oh, and by that, she means that she helped her brother become a doctor, by the way. There was a story about how my uncle came home with a penis inside a jar of alcohol, I think, in a suitcase. And his mother opened up the suitcase, even though her son, my uncle, had told her, "Don't open it." And I think it had been a joke because his hospital buddies had put that penis into that jar as a joke. But he suspected something. Or for some reason he told her, "Don't open my suitcase, mother. I'll do it." So then, grandma, my grandmother here, my uncle's mother, told her husband, and my grandfather said, "Didn't he just tell you not to open his suitcase? Why are you opening up his suitcase?" What does that have to do with anything here? I don't know. Like the spouse right now, she said, "Clean the table." Nobody put away the pizza. It was all left overnight on top of the table in the boxes. And the spouse last night, she had a mountain of clothes on the beds. So much so that my daughter was sleeping with grandma in grandma's bed, which really belongs to my daughter, but grandma's using it. And my son, he was sleeping in my bed here, but then the big pregnant cat came by. So the spouse came over here and said, "Why don't we sleep on the sofa and leave the bed for the cat?" So we did. My son and I went to sleep on the sofa bed, and we left this big bed for the cat, the pregnant cat. Bebe. All right, life is interesting. I'm able to talk to you right now because my mother went to her. She pays $35, I think. She went to her physical therapist class, and she really likes it. I think they give her a massage there. And since she didn't receive love, she really likes it when people touch her and give her a massage. I know she's paying for it, but all my mother needs is love. And I just don't have it for her. Like this morning, she was telling me to stop my son from. We have sandbags or rice bags. They might weigh 8 pounds or something like that. Maybe it's 10, but my son and I were playing catch with the rice bags. And once we got 2 minutes into it, my mother said, "That's enough. He's a young boy. Don't make him exercise so hard." And I told her shut up, but in other words, I told her that, now I didn't go directly, to shut up. I said, "He's a man, and men are stronger than women. He's a man, and don't send him to school all weak. Weakness. Don't send him to school like that. There's a boy on the internet that's the strongest boy in the world, perhaps, and he does 2 hours of exercise, stretching and everything else, weightlifting, before he goes to school in the morning." You see, and then I told my mother, "He's not a girl. Don't raise him like that," because that's the way she would have raised me. I mean, she didn't say anything because when I grew up, when I was my son's age, I would run to school by myself. I would get a little peanut butter sandwich or a jelly and toast at school, and sometimes she would make oatmeal and she would just leave it on the table, and I would eat it with my brother. But she would not be there because she had to leave like an hour earlier before us going to school. We had to leave the house at 5 minutes to 8 o'clock when I was a kid. So school must have get started around 8:20 or 8:30. All right, I'll go into another one here. Daughter, I do love you. And to all my subscribers, I do appreciate you very much. I wonder why I have such a high level of, what's the word? hidden subscribers or subscribers that I cannot go take a look at their websites, their YouTube channels. They must be family. And if you guys are not family, then you probably are friends of the family or people that know us. So I welcome you anyway. Learn from my mistakes. The only way you can win is, as Jesus said, love your enemies. That's the only way. This year I did get closer to my daughter, and only by not following her, not asking her to put the dishes away. If she leaves something on the floor, I step over it. I don't tell my daughter anything, and that's how I got closer to her. Many times my son and daughter are arguing. I go in, I rescue my son. I'm his bodyguard here, but I'm not able to do it like I used to do. Like I used to correct the older daughter or the women. Now I just say, sir, I want to speak with you. Please follow me. And if he doesn't follow, I pick him up and we leave. Once we get outside, I said, if you stay here with me, when we go inside, you'll see that the women are fighting. And sure enough, we come back inside, the women are fighting. And I tell my son, this happens when we're out there. This happens because they are angry about something. The spouse is angry that I don't clean anything. In fact, I don't even cut the grass outside. But I don't do those things because, as I tell my mother, when my mother says, Daniel, come here, and I'm like, don't you have grandchildren that can do what you want me to do? Because I was a slave to my mother when I was a kid. If she would call me, I'd be there like 2 seconds. Boom. Yes. And my mother could call these two kids 5 times. Neither one of them even answers. Because grandma likes to bother us. She says, give me a glass of water. She's got water in her cup, in her glass. And then she's very difficult. It can't be just a glass. Like we have plastic, and we have plastic that we wash, like Tupperware glass. And we also have the other type of glass, which is made out of glass. And she can only have the ones made out of glass because she is an aristocrat, a blue blood, an intellectual. Yeah, she is an intellectual. She can debate about issues. She reads. The only mistake my mother has is that she lies. All right. So as Booker T. Washington says, if you have the greatest education in the world and you are dishonest, then your education was worthless. But what can I do in this house? Like my son is drawing the portraits. He drew he painted or he drew a portrait of himself. Then he drew another one of the whole family, which was myself, the spouse, the big sister, and himself. And then as soon as he showed it to grandma, grandma says, I'm not in that picture. So right now I put him aside and I said, look, before grandma gets angry with you, draw grandma. We have another portrait with grandma. I said, you got to do a second portrait and include grandma in the picture. Otherwise she will be on your case, making your life difficult. So he's going to do that probably when he gets back today. I'll remind him until we get that done. The first defense is not to offend anyone. All right, talk to you later. Enjoy your life.